If we talk about core connector, right? Core connector is also called as template based connector. Now, why we call this as template based connector? The main reason for that is there is a template which is provided by Workday, and with each template that it provides, it has different services associated with that. Now, when it has a different services associated with that, we have to ensure that the right service is selected when you actually pick the template. Okay, so I'll show you a document which I'm going to share it with you because I have prepared a sample document which will help you in, you can say, fixing all these things in case there is any error or anything. uh, it will help you fix it, then how it will configure, how we will use document transformation. All those things will become an important part. Okay, see guys, this document is what is going to be the Bible. Okay, so there are 4 steps. So the first step is process of building a core connector. Now, and then how do you connect with the integration with external system? So this step itself is enough to build your integration. Okay, so if your vendor is absolutely fine to take the XML file as an output, okay, because the general output of XML is, I mean, the general output of core connector is XML. Okay, so if the general output is fine, I mean, the vendor says that I'm okay with XML file, then the first step is enough. We don't need to do anything. All right. But in case this is not the format which they need, right? Some vendors are still using old systems and their systems are not compatible or not using XML. In those scenarios, we write document transformation. Otherwise, document transformation is not required, and XML has now become the global format, guys. So very rarely you will see somebody using document transformation. But yes, it is a good practice that we should know that how document transformation works, right? So first of all, what we are going to do is we are going to build a core connector. Then after building the core connector, we will go ahead and get the output. I'll show you how the output file looks like. Now, once you have the output, then we will build a document transformation, okay, where we will put our XSLT code. I have a sample code. Well, I don't know if that will work or not, but yeah, still, it should give you an idea, like, how XSLT is and what exactly, where exactly do we put it. Okay, so once we put that XSLT file into the system, right, then the XSLT will try to convert the data into the required format, whatever format is. After that, once we get the output, we will see, it will take time because it is conversion, right? It will take some time. So let me go ahead and start. So to create a core connector, guys, the task is little different. Okay. And the task is create integration system. It's not that you will have the normal thing. It is integration system, right? So I will use create integration system. And now you will see here, it says system name, comment, integration tag, and this is a template. So this place is where the template is, and that is what we have to select. Okay, so I'll put something like WDI1 underscore core connector, and the most used template is core connector worker, CCW. So that is what I'm using. Now here it is a text box, and this is just like a placeholder, like you put a hashtag, right? So if you want to put it, then you can. But here I'm using new template. So all the templates are there. So if you go to by category, right? See, you have for benefits, finance, HCM, learning, payroll, spend management, student. So every module, whatever you can find out, you will have it. It's already here. Okay. So what I'll search is core connector worker. So this is what we have to look, and then I will click on OK. So with this, there are 26 or 27 services that comes. Okay. They have increased the services. Now it has gone to 28. Okay. Now, what is this service and why it is so important? See, these services are the key to build any kind of integrations, and from where the data section is going to come, right? So let's try to understand that first. So here, if you have, right, see, it says core connector worker ESB service. Now, ESB is the initial service which is required to invoke, it triggers the integration. So it is not something that you can't remove it. It will automatically be enabled. Then you have data initialization service. Anyways, we have to enable it. Okay. Now, there are certain services which will automatically be enabled. Will not be able to make any changes also to that. That is your exception logs, your performance logs, your stack performance, right? Date launch parameters. So there are multiple things which will automatically be enabled. We don't have to get into that. It is fine. Let it be enabled. We don't have to worry. Now, what things we have to enable is we have to ensure that we have the data sections we have to enable where the data I will pick and choose from there. Okay. So here you see worker profile photo, right? So I'll say I'll enable personal data section. I will enable status data, position data, contract data, leave of absence, compensation, identification, related personal data, qualification data. See, all these are different data sections, transaction logs. Now, I've enabled all the data sections. So when I'll enable all the data sections, then only this is going to help. Otherwise, it will not help. Okay. So I've enabled all the data sections here, and I'll click on OK. Once I click on OK, I'll get an error. You see, I've started getting the error. Now, what is this error? What does it tell us? That there are integration attributes enabled and which are marked or required for launch, but we don't have value assigned against it. So what does it tell you basically? That you have initiated an integration, but you have not done the complete configuration, right? So we haven't done that yet. That is for sure, because it is just the start. Okay. So if you go through the document which I've just shared, see, it says create integration system in the search bar. Put put in the name of the integration and select the template. So what we have used is uh, core connector worker. Select the services data sections you need in one connector. See, the part is when we were using EIB, right? So what was happening there? In the EIB section, we were able to use either one custom report or one web service, right? Do you remember? Yes or no?
Yes.
Now here, the advantage is I can use multiple data sections, which means in one integration in itself, I can pull multiple records and the data will be huge, right? So if the data is huge and I can pull multiple record, that is what is going to help me. Do you understand that? Yes, no.
Multiple records in the sense it's like selecting multiple reports.
Yes, so it is like selecting multiple reports. So here you see, whatever the data sections we have enabled, what did we enable here?
Like profile photo, personal
Right.
details.
See,
Yeah.
profile photo, personal data, status data, position data, contract data. Now, no one can create a report which can contain so many data sections together. That report will become so complex that it will not run properly. Right. And if it was EIB inbound, which means I had to use one web service. So, which means either I can insert profile photo or worker data or compensation data all at, you know, one by one. But here, if you see, I'm able to get everything at one go, right? Do you understand that? Yes,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, we discussed like in EAB we can do the integration with only one data source, right?
correct. Now here, there
Mm.
is multiple data source. So this is the major advantage of core connector. Okay, so I'm just removing this. Now let's fix this error first. So first we will have to configure the integration attribute. So we'll go into the integration system. Now here you see configure integration attribute. Now why it is required? Because you have to give the document name. See, when the integration will run, right? So it should have a document tag, right? That it will hold your output. So what we will do, we will scroll it down and put the name of the document. So you can put any name, okay? But as a best practice, what we used to do is we put output document. So you can put any name. There is no problem in that. And then it says version for launch, right? Version. So if you click on it, so you will see that there is only one option, which is XML. And this is the version of the core connector. See, this version and the version of Workday, these are two different things. Okay. So the version of core connector is 40. However, the version of Workday is now 42. So this version and Workday version are different. Now you see output format XML, and we can't change it. There is no way to change it. Okay. So that is the reason when output comes off core connector, it is always going to be XML. Okay. Now you see that error is gone, right? So let's go back to the document. What does it say? It says go to the related action integration system, configure integration attribute. Yeah, that is what we did. It says select the latest version and output document tag as output document. Click on OK. Then the next part is how do you select the fields? So go to the integration system, configure integration attribute. It says select all the field which you want in your output file of the XML. Now here we actually go ahead and select the what? The values which you need in your integration, because we enabled all the data sections. Yes or no?
Yes.
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 So once you enable all your data sections, you see all these fields are available. So if you go into profile photo, there are two fields. Now do you want them to be part of your integration, like your file name and image? Then you just can include this, okay, in this way. But I don't want them, it will make it very heavy. Coming on to the personal data section, you see what are the things that you will automatically get it. See, include in output, like legal name, preferred name, name data, right? Then you want gender, you can put it, birthday, okay, you can put it. So for those employees where data is there, it will pick it up. Okay, maybe marital status, right? So there are multiple fields. Whatever you want, you can put it. There are 29, right? Similarly, if I go to the worker status data, from there I can put something active, right? What was the hire date, right? All those things you can put. Position data. So I'll scroll it down and then I'll see what is a job profile, right? That is enough. I mean, I don't want to put much of data because that will make a file heavy. And you know that this integration, when it runs, it takes a long time to give us the file. So I'm just trying to make, only those things which actually can give us the information. And not every employee will have all this information. Okay, so now what I'm doing, I'm going ahead and clicking on OK. And there is one more thing which comes into picture. What is that? One more thing which comes into picture here is that eligibility criteria. Now, what is this eligibility criteria? So the eligibility criteria is what sort of data you want to pull. You know, you want to pull the data for whom. So for that, you have this option which says configure integration field override. Okay. So here you will get, see, it says eligibility criteria used to determine whether a worker is eligible for inclusion in the integration output. The field should return a Boolean value. Okay. So I'll say is active because I want the data for only for active employee. I don't need for terminated or retired employee. Okay. So I'll say is active. Okay. And click on OK. So once we have that, what we will do is we'll go ahead and scroll it down and then click on done. So now the next thing is, see, if you need the output in XML, then there is no problem at all. I will go ahead and just run the integration. So first of all, I'll have to search it. Okay. So now I'll click on actions and it works in the same fashion. You go to integration and launch it. So you can launch it, schedule it. So schedule how you can do the same way. So if you want to schedule it, you have the option. But I want to run now and show it to you. I'll click on OK. And what will happen now is it will start running the integration. See here, the good part is all the logs that are there, exception logs, performance logs, right, stack performance, and then it gives you so much of option that okay, from which date, which time, which successful entry you need the data. Do you need the data for a specific worker? Then you can extract that. You want the data for a specific organization, like you can put it here. And then do you need the full file? Yes, because right now we are extracting it for the first time. So I'll say I need the full file and then I'll go ahead and click on OK. So now it will give me the output as an attachment, because see, we haven't got a real time client to whom we can actually send the data. So what it does is it will start giving me all the documents and everything as an attachment. So what you will start seeing is there are multiple files in output here. there are multiple files. It's not just that one, but you will see multiple files, and it will take time also. It is not that it will start to give you the data quickly. No. So right now, if you see, there are only 12 files. So I'll refresh it. I'll keep on refreshing. It should go at least on to 100, right? See, output files. I'll show all of them to you. See, 72, 88. It is still processing. 100, 115 and processing. 126 and processing. So now it has been completed and it is now 127, right? So now when you go into it, so if you open just one, let's say I'll just show it this one. So within this folder, it's a zip folder. So you can see there could be multiple small files. See, Peter, Sam. Okay. This is the employee ID. Eligible. Why? Because this person is active. Active. Right. So what was the hire date? Now, whatever the fields we have selected and the values are not there. What does that mean? It means that those values are not there for this user. Otherwise, those values would have come. So if you go to this, right? So it's trying to share other details, right? So for Peter, Sam, these are the other information. Okay. Termination date, leave date, control manager, right? All those things are there, but they don't have a value against it. That's the reason it is not coming. Now, how can I get all the values together? How can I get all the combined values, right? That also we have to understand first of all. If I just don't need the value for one employee or just few employees, how will I get it for all? So for that, what I have to do is I have to get into the file name that we have kept. So what was the name of the file that we have kept? Anybody remembers it?
Output something.
Yes, output document. So that will come at the bottom. So we have to scroll it, and we have to scroll at the last. So that will contain all the information. Now you have seen how the XML format looks like, right? So this is the format of the XML. This will take time because you see this gets stuck actually. There's so much of data in this that it will get stuck. You see this? So this is my output.xml. So when I click on it, so I'm getting the output, and now you see, so it has data. So there are how many employees information in this? There are 1252 employees, and here it starts with Priya Gulshan, then Pravalika, Sana. So if you scroll down, this is a huge file. So it will have data for 1252 employees, and all of this information will be segregated together at one place. So this is the file which is required, and this is the file which will be transmitted to the vendor. When we actually go ahead and send the data to the vendor, this is how exactly it is done. Okay, so does that make sense? Like, how is the output of the core connector? How do you actually configure the core connector? What is the use of the core connector, right? Is there anybody who has a doubt on this?
There was a share, like, how can we know whether it is inbound or outbound in core connector?
So generally, core connector is used for outbound only. Okay. So what do you see here is the value is getting extracted from Workday.
Okay.
and it will be sent to a third party. So in 99% of the cases, a core connector is used for outbound. And if you have such scenarios where you have multiple business objects and you are trying to insert data at all at once, so that for that you will use either Studio or you have EIB. There is no other way of doing that, and that's the reason why this kind of integration works more and better with the outbound integration. Okay, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. See, uh, we want to send this data to third party system. So how
Correct.
can also we want to, like in EAB, there's a different FTPs and
Yes, yes, that I am going to explain you, but till now is that resolved or not? I mean, you have any questions or no questions? It's all good.
You see, generally, see, if any of the organization, so they are implementing Workday, so in most of the cases, they should get the data from other third-party systems. In what scenarios
No,
we send the data
you
to?
always get send the data to a third party system, because why would you insert any unwanted data to Workday?
See, if we are implementing the recruiting benefits or core HCM in our news an organization, so we
Hmm.
should get the data from the previous legacies, like PeopleSoft or something.
So, see, the
Mm.
first time when you do the data load, that is fine.
Okay.
After that, you don't really need to get the data from them, right?
Yeah.
So the first time when you are inserting the data, you have a tool called Cloud Connector that you use, because that helps you to insert the data into Workday without any difficulty. Or you use EIB. We
So,
don't use this core connector part.
so the same organization can use Workday and PeopleSoft as their ERPs at a time.
Hmm. Yes, they can.
Few modules in Workday and few modules in PeopleSoft.
Correct. That is possible. Yeah.
Because in that scenario, yes, only we'll do the output, this output integration and everything, right?
It's not necessary. See, when you use benefits, right?
Oh,
So what happens in the benefits? You have to send the data to the benefit provider. You when you run the payroll, you have to send the data to the payroll provider. So all those places, your core connector is only used, and that's the reason I've showed you different type of templates, right?
okay,
So that
okay.
is the reason why this is the most used and most beneficial integration which comes into picture.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Okay, so now is the time where actually I'll show you how you go ahead and um, you know there is an option in core connector, guys, which basically tells you how you have to build the connection with the third party. So here there is nothing like Amazon Web Services or anything like that. You have to have a URL where you have to send the data. Now it could be any URL, it could be any system. So it is not going to change it. So it will click on action. Then what it will happen is you will go to integration system, and then you have the option called edit subscription. So when you click on it, scroll it down, you see this external endpoints. So where you have to send the data, that URL you have to put here, username you have to put here, password, verify password. Now all this information needs to be put in here. If it is not here, then your data will not be sent. And then it says use API version. Now what is this API version? This API version is of Workday, right? Because it says version 42.0. So always remember there is a difference between the version of core connector and version of Workday, right? So whatever you see here is the version of Workday, and that is what you have to use, not anything else. And then put the URL, then the password. that you get, the username that you get, and then you will be able to send the data here. Okay, clear? I mean, anybody has any doubt on this? Yes, no?
So the URL would be the HTTP URL?
Yeah, it could be any URL. HTTP URL, it could be, SFTP. So whatever the client is telling you, that wherever they need the data, it could be Amazon Web Services, it could be any other system, FTP, SFTP, anything. That URL has to be part of it. Okay.
And we also have to share them the definition file, the XML definition file, so that they can map the fields.
That will automatically go. We don't have to do anything as such,
Okay.
because that XML file is going to take us the output, right? So the output will automatically be sent to them, and their system, if it is good enough or capable enough, they can easily go ahead and map the fields with their system. That will not be a problem.
But if you want to see what fields are being included in the output, how do we check that?
What
Mm.
fields are included in output? You already have selected those fields here, right? See, the fields are this only.
But
It
it's
is
quite a lengthy file.
there is no option in that. That is the reason I said that this comes in this way only.
Okay.
So you said that you want to know the field selected. So who has built this integration? In the real-time system, when you build this integration, who
Hmm.
will select the fields?
Whoever building it.
So whoever is building it. So right now we are building it. So did we not select the field?
No, no, we have selected the field. Uh,
Yeah.
just need to know like exact field names and how do the mapping will happen.
Mapping is not our responsibility, because when you are sending the data to a third party, right? They are responsible for mapping it with their system. Like the way we send them a template, right? That we need the data in this format. Please send us the data in this format, right?
Right. So like EIB, we used to see the field's name and everything on the Excel file.
So here you have the field name, right? So this is employee ID. That's a field name. You got a name. There's a field name. Eligibility, right? So all these are field name. So if you look into it, every employee will have that.
Yes.
So fields are put in this way in XML file.
No, no, I got that. So we have selected multiple fields,
Hmm.
and here we see only the worker name,
Yes.
employee
Why it
ID.
is coming? What did I say just few minutes back? Do you
Because
remember that?
not all employees have all the data.
Exactly. So not all employees have all the data. If they all employees will have all the data, then it will come. So if you see, there are different files to it, right? So in this second file, whatever the information that is there, it is coming, right? I picked up termination data, leave data, control manager change, right? All these things I picked up. So it says missing field. They don't have these fields,
Right,
right? That's the reason you're getting all this information. If the value was there, it would have put it. Okay.
right,
So that's the reason all these files that you see, all this file will actually go. The output file is the combination on the combined value of it. But when you talk about the output, the complete file will go there.
So we provide endpoints in production, let's say, and
Hmm.
every Friday it refreshes to sandbox. So who changes the endpoints in sandbox? How is that handled? Is it automatic process?
No, it's not an automatic process. And not every Friday it will change. It will never refresh. See,
No, no.
when you talk about the weekly maintenance, right? They never refresh the system.
What do
They
you
will
mean?
not change the settings. They will only do the data cleanup. That is all they do in the weekly maintenance. Refresh is done once in a 6 months, right?
Uh, Data maintenance in the sense only data they would bring from production to sandbox.
No, 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 no. You're not getting.
Yes.
You're talking about the weekly maintenance which Workday does, right? Every Friday night.
No, what happens in my organization, I'll say that I'm not sure how overall it works.
Hmm.
So in our organization, every Friday, uh,
Hmm.
sandbox refreshes. So whatever changes or whatever anything is added in the production, everything it brings to sandbox. How was
Okay.
that endpoints handled here?
No, in that case, whatever is in production, that will come automatically in sandbox.
Okay, but
And
we do testing in sandbox, right?
yes,
If
so for
we do
that, you will have to change the endpoint every Friday. After every Friday, you have to change it. That does not happen automatically. That will be done manually.
yeah, but I don't see anybody doing that in my team.
So
That's
there must be somebody else who is doing it, right? Or they may not change that part. That also is a possibility. Maybe just reach out to your security administrator and ask this question, how exactly it works, because every organization functions differently. But as I stated, that whenever there is a refresh, whenever you're saying that every Friday there is a refresh in your office, so whenever there is a refresh, the data will be manipulated. Manipulated means if there is any overridden and you don't want it, you will have to change it. You don't have an option. And now how that is changed, that depends from organization to organization. But definitely it requires a change,
okay.
right? Because see, when you're refreshing something, right, it will override. There is no alternative. Okay. So yes, this is the core connector that we have. And now we have the other part, which is document transformation, guys. You see, document transformation is basically an integration only. But the good part is in that integration, you put the XSLT code. Okay. How? So that is the next part. Let me go ahead and get into that area. I'll not close this, but I'll open another duplicate tab, and there we will get into the new integration system. So the task is create integration system.
In the previous one, CCW, you did not, I mean, transaction logs, what to use when, those can you explain us?
I will do that.
And how do we handle indirect changes?
I'll come to that. I'll come to that. Don't worry. So first, let me build the document transformation. Then I will come back to that one all at once. We have not completed core connector. Don't worry. There's a lot of things that are left in that. So I said it will take 2 days, right? Yeah. Create integration system. So the process remains the same, guys. The process remains the same. System name WDY1, and I'll say core connector underscore document transformation DT. And then here I have to use the document template. And that template is document. So if you just search it, you will get this option which says document transformation. So this is the template which helps you to build any kind of transformation. So for that, I'll go ahead and click on OK. And then you see I'm getting this error and alert. Why? Because it has 4 services: document transformation attachment, document transformation, integration, document retention, and file name sequence generator. So the most important part for me is attachment service and then configuration of the document transformation. So what is this attachment service? What do we do in this? So guys, last time I've shown you the XSLT code, right? Do you guys remember it or no, you don't? Yes or no?
I don't recall it.
I've taken you to w3schools.com and then
Yes,
I've
yes.
shown
Okay,
you,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's what I wanted to show you. Although I have another um, sample code which I'll be sharing with you. So let me bring that as well. So I hope you're seeing a Word file in front of you. Yes, no?
Yes.
Yeah. See, this is a sample file. What does it do? This is the uh, transformation, right? Now, the most important part is this one, output method. So here I put a CSV. Now, why I put a CSV? Because you know the data is coming in XML and I don't need that in XML. I need that in
CSV.
any other format. So whatever format you need, you have to mention that there because that is the output method which actually will help you in converting the document into the required format. So I have put it as .csv. So same thing, right? Like the last time I've shown you. So this is my template, right? Core connector worker. And then it says for each, because for each row, I need the data. Now what data I need? First name, right? Last name, then gender, then date of birth, job profile, and compensation grade, right? So these are the fields which I have extracted. Now, for those employees whose values are not there, it will give me blank value. In the CSV file, it will not have that data. And if those are mandatory fields or something, then what will happen? I'll start getting errors. Okay. So that is the reason. Now you see this error is coming. Why? If you just click on it, it will tell you. The integration system uses a document attachment services, right? So which is not fully configured. So it's asking you to configure that. If you don't configure, then your attachment, which is your place to enter the data, it will not work. So what I'll do, I'll click on actions, go to integration system. Then this is the one, configure integration attachment service. So see, if you have XSLT code with you, what you will do, you will create an integration attachment service. You will select the file and you will put the data here. Okay. But I have a sample file which is already there in the system. I'm just trying to use it. Sample file DT, and I'll go ahead and click on OK. So, you know, the file may have been changed or something would have happened. So don't worry about that. But this is just to show you, demonstrate you how you put the file. So once you put the file, your error is gone. But there are a few things that we still have to do. We click on actions. We go to integration system and then you have got this option which says configure integration attribute, right? So once you click on it, see here, you have to put the input. Now, why you have to put the input? Can you tell me or anybody tell me? What is the use or reason of putting this input tag? Yes, no. Anybody understands it, what I'm trying to do? Or no, you're not clear on this?
From which document? Actually?
Okay, what is the use of integration, document transformation? Why are we building
Converting
this transformation?
converting output XML into vendor required format.
Actually correct. So that conversion will be done by the XSLT code that we will upload it and as an attachment and we'll put it. Okay. Now the next part is on which file will this code run? That file also we need, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So that is the reason we have to put that input document tag. So for this document transformation, I need an input, and that input is basically the output document that we have created. Right? This is the one, output document,
Yes.
and I've selected it. So now this has become my input. Okay. Now my document transformation is ready because I've added the code. And once that main core connector runs, it will give the output file. Now, once that output file is ready, that output file will become the input for this document transformation, right? So what is going to happen now? Once it runs, both the integration has to be combined. If you don't combine it, then the output of core connector, the main core connector, is not linked with this document transformation. So how do we link it? We link it with the help of business process. So what we will do, we'll click on actions here. We'll go to business process and then create copy or link definition. And then we are going to select none of the above here. Why we are selecting none of the above? The reason is I don't want to copy or link any existing one. I want to create my own. Okay. So I am doing what? So the first step is initiation, that will always be there. Second step is say service, fire integration. So the third step will be which integration, right? There must be an integration also. So I will go ahead and put integration and I'll try to click on OK. Now why I'm clicking on OK? Once I click on OK, it will give me an error and it will ask me to see, it will ask me to configure the integration because without that I can't configure. It says invalid integration setup, right? So if you are putting an integration step where you have not configured any integration here, so after that I'll get this option to configure the integration. So now I have got the main core connector. What I'll do, I'll go ahead and bring in the document transformation, guys. Okay, and I'll go ahead and click on OK here. Now you see what has happened. This document transformation, which was this, has become the part of the main core connector. Does it make sense? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
So what did we do here? We first created the core connector. Then if there is no problem with the output, if there is no problem with the output, if you need XML, then this is enough. Then this integration is enough and I can run and get the data into that format. Now, if that is not the case, I want the data to be converted. So first of all, I will have to, first of all, I should know how to write XSLT. If I know how to write XSLT, then I can write the XSLT. Now, if I don't know how to write the XSLT, then it will be difficult. So you have to find somebody who knows XSLT, right? So after that, once the XSLT is written, what you do next is build the document transformation. Whatever format you want it in CSV, you want it in Excel, you want it in PDF, you want it in text, right? You can do that. So what will happen now? I will go ahead and submit that XSLT code in the document transformation. Once that is done, then I will link it with the main core connector using the business process. So now when I run the main core connector, what is going to happen? Okay, I will go ahead and launch this. Okay, so same parameters and everything is going to be the same. Nothing is going to change. And this time also I'll say give me the full file. I don't need the just one file. So I'll scroll it down and I'll go ahead and run the integration. Click on OK. Now this will take its own sweet time. It is not that it will just come and happen. No, it will take some time. Now what will happen here, guys? You will scroll it down, right? You will see this option, percentage complete. See, this is where your log files will come, right? Someone asked that question. So what we will do with the logs? So once your process starts running, do you see that Workday integration data initialization service? So this has picked up. This is our second step. So once this is picked up as per the process, right? So what we will have, what we will do, then you will start getting the logs. Okay, integration has been fired. No, it is waiting to fire. Why? That I don't know, because that happens in the back end of Workday. So we don't have any idea that why exactly this is taking time. And then this will tell us what are the remaining processes that we have, right? So after this core connector, the document transformation will come, and then it will give us the actual file as an output. But this will take time. And as we see, what it will do, it will send us a notification here, because you can't keep sitting just watching at it or just looking. So that will send a notification here to us that your integration was completed or not completed, or was there an error, whatever it is, you will get that notification in this place. Okay,